Welcome, everyone, to Season 4, Episode 3. Woo! Yeah, and there's much rejoicing.
We are at episode 94?
94? Something like
I think.
that.
Shoot. With me, I was missing a week. I'm now off, so
I realized,
I'm probably wrong.
I know, how dare you?
I know. I fail.
You just leave us all alone for a whole week.
I know. And then I'm all off, and then I did the recording from the Westerlands.
From the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which was lovely. And there was
I have to go back. I'm gonna go back and look at the episodes and see what episode we're actually at. I was doing good with the numbers, and now I feel like I'm kind of like failing. So my bad.
It's all good.
We're there. Because I'm trying to track when we hit 100. That's the main thing.
100. I can tell you.
Yeah, we hit the century mark.
We're not there yet. Where is my?
Yeah, I think it's going to happen in July. I think based on my back of the napkin math.
Okay. Yeah, we are in episode 95. So.
Oh wow, it's closer than I thought. Okay, so 95. So yeah, so we're definitely hitting it. Oh well, so it might be August then, if that's the case.
Maybe. Yeah,
because if we're 5 away, then we're definitely going to be in August. So cool.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to episode.
To have a birthday.
I'm looking forward to episode 100.
100.
100.
100. So I'm trying to do things at let's see, how do I do this? Switch again. There you goes. They make it so hard to figure these things out. I'm sorry. I messaged someone a while back and seeing if they're not able
to.
So we're gonna have a guest tonight. I just remembered, but then I had switched profile. So where I was chatting on one, it wasn't uploaded on my phone, but they did message me saying they weren't going to be able to make it. So.
Oh, okay.
Well,
gotcha.
Can we know who it is?
There'll be a guest star for a future episode.
Yeah, in the future. It's not someone that you probably know. So, I don't want to say who it is because they said no, and then they get blown. That makes sense.
Oh yeah,
I'll let you know. We're live right now.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna blow their spot up. But we'll I'll tell you guys later.
Yeah, we don't need to let everyone know that they hate us and don't want to hang out with us.
No,
I know. We talk all smack about them and they show up.
Yeah, his boss wouldn't let him get off work. So
I really was just curious. I had no nefarious intent of slandering this person who.
No, yeah.
How dare you not show up on our show?
And couldn't play with.
He was about to let loose with the tongue, and she was like, did the tongue lashing, and then like, wait, I better hold up.
Not planning on that.
No.
So they're not going to be here, but we'll get other people on stuff sure enough, and he'll come back on eventually. It's just I
always like a good surprise guest star. I like when that happens. So anytime you're able to bring somebody in, I'm all about it.
Yeah, this would have been.
I think it'd be somebody who hasn't even read the books. I'd be okay with that too.
We might do that at some point, where we just bring some random person off the street in and just ask him what he thinks. And
there you go.
What do you
Actually,
think
this would have been
Boyd?
a great book. Now that you say that in retrospect, this would have been a great book to have guests in because there's short chapters. It's a novella. This would have been a great one. So if you have something like that in the future, on the docket, maybe that's another good candidate for when we'll bring in some like guest hosts, guest stars,
a rando. Yeah,
exactly, and we'll introduce them like Scooby Doo and the Globetrotters.
You ever done like a bar scavenger hunt, like where you have a list of things you have to accomplish at a bar? Yeah, so we did one at a bachelor party one time. We're bar hopping, and we had to do it. And one of them was take a shot with a stranger. Yeah, and I went and went outside the bar and found the first homeless guy outside and just dragged him in the bar with us. And we, come on, we're doing shots.
The worst one I had to do, and of course I was in my early 20s, but the worst one I had to do was I had to get a woman to give me her bra.
Yeah, we had one that we had to change clothes with one.
Yeah, and I was like. Yeah, it was always like running around randomly. I showed her the little ticket thing, and she had drank enough, and she was like, "No problem." And she knew the bra trick thing, where it's like you pull out your sleeve.
Oh yeah.
Did you
I
get
told her, I was
back
like,
here
all your
after?
drinks are covered by me.
You showed all your friends you got this lady's bra. Did you give it back after? Or
Yeah, of course. Oh
Mhm.
yeah. What was I
okay,
gonna do
good.
with it?
That's not
Yeah,
a
no,
big
I gave
deal.
it back to her, but
Yeah.
I told her I was like, give me your bra. I'll show the thing. I showed her the little ticket. I gotta prove it's not some like my. It can't be like your girlfriend's bra. I wasn't dating you at the time. It can't be like your girlfriend's bra or whatever, and it has to be some random person's bra, and they have to say that they gave it willingly.
Yep.
No, goodness.
It was not taken forcefully.
I know you couldn't just like go snatch it up. I mean, how would you do that?
There has to be consent with this. It's fun. It's fun.
Consensual bra theater.
I would never do that kind of stuff now.
It is a fun drinking game. Although my most favorite drinking game I ever had that we ever played was which actually will get you kicked out of a bar really, really fast. But it's a whole lot of fun if you ever do it. Go to a really crowded bar. And this is better when you're in your 20s. So any of our younger listeners that want a really fun bar game and
please don't follow any of the instructions Alan's about to give you. Please go ahead.
You go and you get a blindfold and you blindfold someone and just play Marco Polo in the bar. And pretty soon the entire bar will be joining in. It's a lot of fun. People just screaming Marco Polo, and it's some guys like blindly walking around the bar, stumbling everywhere, falling over things, and it's fun.
There's a lot of breakable things at the bar.
There is.
Yeah, but the person that's blindfolded will never win because there's too many people yelling out. Marco.
He tags a lot of people yells Polo. Like he yells Marco, everybody yells Polo, and he tags someone that's playing.
Okay.
Then they become the new Marco Polo. It's like the pool game.
So it's anybody. It's like tag, basically. That's right.
It's like tag inside a bar, but blindfolded. It's fun.
I forgot how Marco Polo is played.
Over and trip over.
Yeah, you trip over things. It's a lot of fun. And then you have people that aren't playing that you like randomly running into and like touching and like.
Yeah.
You get kicked out really fast.
You would have to be at a bar that consented to that happening.
Yeah, you get kicked out really fast. It's fun. Not to be the person blindfolded, but to watch and laugh. It was hilarious.
I would definitely observe somebody do it. I would not want to be tripping around a bar and falling over tables. My gosh, yeah, you
gross.
I'm a person.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine falling on the floor the germs and
gross.
Being someone that's been a bartender,
if I see something on the floor where people are dancing, I will go out of my way to move the thing that is on the floor so people don't trip on like a lighter that fell out of a pocket or something.
Being a bartender, I've seen a guy when I was a bartender back in my younger years passed out in the men's bathroom floor, like underneath the urinal, like face down, and I was like, that's so gross. Like I'm like,
in the moment you don't care.
Well, at that point we were trying to kick him out. So like we're just like, dude, you got to get up. And he's like, I was like, I'm not gonna touch you. Like I don't want to touch you. Just get up and get out. Like
nasty.
I don't want anything to do with you, man. Don't touch me. Don't.
Yeah. You don't gotta puke at home, but you can't puke here.
Right.
You don't need that kind of crap.
I feel bad for women that throw up and they get to throw up in their hair.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
So, how's everybody else doing besides this? Let's change the subject, guys.
Good.
So I'm good. Of course, I'm watching all the Club World Cup games. That's the reason I was in Seattle, and it's still going on. So they're round of 16, and there's a game on right now. Okay. So I've been watching all those. Somehow or another, I did something this weekend and got food poisoning. So I'm just like recovering from like not eating, and like basically just having like the most terrible cramps.
Yeah.
From that. So that's bad news there.
Yeah. I'm still recovering from the weekend as well, just because I decided to yard work, and it is as hot as humanly possible right now. So being outside and working in the heat was so draining. I'm still recovering. I'm still sore all over just because I think I was just lack of water. And I was trying to stay hydrated.
It did not take long. I did my workout on Saturday and then I mowed the yard. And luckily I just got an electric lawnmower. So now I can mow the yard earlier. Because I think they have an ordinance. You're not supposed to like have like your lawnmower going before like 9 a.m. or something like that.
Yeah.
So I would always wait till 9 a.m. But now that I have the electric lawnmower, I can go out there as early as I want as long as there's enough sunlight. So I went out there at like 8 something and tried to knock it out. Did not make a difference. I was drenched with sweat. Yeah. It was so hot this past weekend.
Well, I think Phoenix actually hit a record today.
Today? Wow.
Yeah, today.
And it's not even July yet.
Yeah, they hit a all-time record. I think it got to 117 degrees.
Jeez, I can't imagine.
In Phoenix.
if you're in the Arizona area, I feel for you guys. Seriously.
So hot.
Wow.
At least it's a dry
hot.
heat, but still, that's hot.
Yeah, that's egg frying hot right there. I mean, 100%. It's got to be, right?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, this heat wave's been no joke.
Yeah, and it's been terrible on these soccer players. You know, these European soccer players coming over here, and they're like in Charlotte, like one of the games was like 100 degrees, and they like,
yeah,
you know, they have cooling breaks and stuff. It just does not help.
Yeah, here we just have the humidity, which just destroys you.
And they're just not used to it. I mean, they're saying the Brazilians are like, you know, the Brazilians and South American teams are handling better, but the European teams are not. And I'm like, I'm not surprised. I mean, they look like they're struggling. Some of them do.
Yeah, so be interesting with the World Cup coming up. And,
which comes up next year. And because I bought 2 tickets for Club World Cup games, 3 tickets, I will be eligible first dibs to get World Cup tickets when they come around. So hopefully I'll be able to get something locked in for next year.
Yeah,
we'll see which games I go to.
We're gonna try to go to the Olympics because that's in LA, or well, a bunch of places, but LA,
right?
So we're gonna try to do that.
That's cool if you guys can make that happen. Any particular sport you guys are gonna try and track and see?
I don't know. I mean, so the thing about Olympics is you can get cheap tickets to Olympics. Like that's one thing that people don't realize. It's like one of the cheapest sporting events.
Okay.
How big it is, because one of the things that the IOC, like one of the staples that they is make it so that everyone can see it, like
make it accessible.
Make it accessible. So it's not like Super Bowl or World Cup where you like our not World Cup, World Series or some like all these other American sports where like
or like the World Cup. It's expensive.
Yeah, yeah. If you try to go like to the Super Bowl, like American football, like
thousands.
Yeah,
not thousands
of dollars.
Yeah, it's insane, right?
It's stupid.
So I was supposed to go to the Tokyo Olympics. That was the plan for our trip that year.
Okay.
And then COVID happened, so then they moved it to 2021. So it threw everything off. So I never even got the chance to even buy the tickets to find out what the prices were because before that they had already moved the event. And I was like, well, if they're moving in a year, I was like, it's just too much drama, and I didn't know what the deal was going to be with travel, so I just canceled the whole thing.
I think we might go see some track and field events just because my wife was the track. She's now old enough where she doesn't know anybody. She did know a lot of Olympians when she was younger, but so some of the coaches and things like that.
Cool.
So we might do some track stuff. I mean, I might go see sailing, but spectating sailing is not fun.
Oh, absolutely not. Nah, I can't imagine. I mean, unless you're like on one of the boats that was out there in the water, but you can't. I don't think you can just be out there like in the vicinity. Yeah. It's not like what's it called, America's Cup, where you can like be on a boat and kind of like
America's Cup tries to get it so they go close to shore and they have
right.
Like really sure, so it's a little different.
And then you have spectator boats, don't they, for America's Cup, where it's like you can kind of be kind of close to the action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do. Yeah, that's a whole different thing. But anyway. You guys ready to talk about Tress?
Yes.
Part 3. All right. And now you kind of finally realize why last week when you asked me who my favorite character was, I was like, I think it's the guy named Doug.
Which, of course, I changed my name specifically for the occasion.
Doug Boy. Oh,
nice.
Notice. I mean, it was spelled different, but I thought you spelled it like dough. I thought there was an H there.
Tress.
Nope. I changed it to Doug Boy the waiter.
That's cute. You guys are so good at names.
Oh, right.
No, I was thinking about the whole time I was listening to it. I was like, Doug, I got to do something Doug based. Because everybody evolves eventually to either a crab or a Doug, it sounds like.
Smart.
That's pretty much. Every world has Dougs. Anyway, we'll get to chapter 13. We'll get there. Chapter 13.
That's right. We'll get there.
The cabin boy, which is Hoyt. So Tress wakes up. And her first thought is of Charlie, and she thinks about how naive it was to undertake this quest, and thinks about him being trapped somewhere alone. And she's just kind of trying to adjust on life on the ship. And of course, Hoyt introduced himself too with just, I'm the cabin boy. If you hadn't already guessed, and he starts talking a little bit about, he starts talking about his curse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's pretty much the whole thing. She recognizes Hoyt from earlier because he showed up earlier to deliver one of the cups. I think I want to say he did.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Deliver the cup.
And the captain also tells Tress he's a third watch, which means she doesn't get, which means she doesn't really get food because Tress thinks
there is no third watch
because there's no third watch.
It's never announced. Poor thing. She's sitting there just waiting, and it never happens.
This is hazing at its best.
Now explain to me, because it sounded the way that it was described. It sounded like Hoyd got 2 curses. Now the one curse was the cancellation of his senses, which we'll get to in the next chapter, because it's like it's kind of like, haha, fooled you.
Yeah.
And I thought he had another curse that was put on him though too.
He lost his senses. Yeah, I just remember the senses one.
Okay, I feel like he said 2 things.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I think he said something about like his the way he was talking and why he sounded like he was talking gibberish, and it had something to do with the curse.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, so he got cursed with like the inability to speak proper, and he got these 5 senses removed. I guess that's
one of the senses. I think is the sense of being.
We'll get to it.
It was like not like touch, feel, taste, seeing.
No, sense of humor, sense of.
That's what you're thinking it's going to be.
Yeah.
Is in like I know what something looks good. A sense of self. I think, which is why.
Okay, like, that's right. That's right.
In my name.
Nope, you just reminded me. You got it. You hit the tree on. You hit
the tree.
You hit the tree. No, don't do that.
Okay, definitely. I am tongue-tied and devoid of nutrients from this.
So Alondo made a deal with the sorcerer. Apparently, he lost his.
I did. So the 2 things he said: he lost his sense of taste, and he said he lost his other senses. So he described it as like 2 different things, and you think because he said sense of taste,
but it was taste and clothing.
Taste and clothing. Later on, we find out, oh, you should match that up with. You should make half the orange.
Yeah.
She's just like, that's it. Okay.
But he's mostly talking nonsense.
Bless you.
And the crew looks normal, and this is where Tress starts to wonder like how they all wound up as pirates, because like it doesn't seem like a normal pirate crew. Like Crow, of course, kind of does, but the rest of them, like it's like she's trying to figure this out. It's like a puzzle that she's trying to figure out. And yeah,
right. It seemed like they're all kind of playing pirate,
right? And they just sewed their first pirate flag, so it's this. They're new to piracy.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's also wondering why everyone's so cheerless. Like everyone's just like not happy about this because we learned shortly thereafter they're now dead runners, which is a bad thing because if you're a pirate, you can pretty much do piracy apparently in this world, like kind of sort of. If you're just stealing things, once you kill someone, then it's like nope, you're dead. You're a dead man now.
Like, when you're a pirate, you're doing a service. You're reintroducing currency back into the economy,
right?
Based on the way it was explained.
Yeah.
Sounds like Robin Hood.
Yeah.
It is very much like Robin Hood.
Yeah. But as soon as you kill someone, now you're a dead runner. And that's that's a no-no. And
yeah.
But then she's trying to figure out like why would they do what then, because they obviously were trying to steal from that ship. They obviously sunk it. Like there was no intention of. And then why leave someone alive? And she's trying to put the pieces in this first chapter a little bit. And yeah. So that's kind of how, and the big thing is just the reveal that Hoyd has met with the sorceress, and he's lost his senses.
Right,
all his senses.
Senseless.
He's senseless.
Oh, he's senseless. All right.
Yeah. Now the question is, what did he say what he traded for his senses?
No.
So.
Okay, because they imply that like there's a deal that was made.
I mean, he's got this ability to traverse worlds. I just was like assuming because he is in another category of life being capability, blah blah blah. So I just assumed it was related to that.
Okay,
but I just made a broad assumption. There's nothing that said that though.
Yeah,
that was my theory.
So anything else from chapter 13 before we move to chapter 14, the Dougs?
Nope.
All right. So in chapter 14, the Dougs, Hoyd goes on to explain the crow's song and that it's really over capacity. Like there's roughly twice the size size of the crew. Oh no, it's other way around. It's roughly twice the size of the crew's capacity of the Oot stream. Sorry, so it's twice as big. I read my notes wrong. I wrote that so wrong.
Little boat, lots of people.
Yeah, it's just a bigger boat.
Too big of a boat, not enough people.
Right.
It's a big enough boat, but they probably need more people to.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And it has 2 guns rather than 1. And Hoyt goes around talking about naming some characters. Like, well, here's some characters in the crew, and then everybody else just can call Doug because there's plenty of Dougs. And he goes on to say, Doug's the most worthless name in the entire universe, and how most worlds, including Earth, has Dougs. So, which makes you think that Hoyt's 1, been to Earth, and 2, Earth exists in the cosmos. Because he mentions
we have
Earth.
to assume. Well, he's referred to us a couple times because he's referred to what we have in our universe versus theirs.
Our world, yeah.
Yeah.
So the Doug.
I like the flapjacks that are named Doug, and they don't really speak, but they fart.
Yeah.
And it sounds like Doug.
What did he say? He's like, once the planet goes full Doug, there's no saving it.
There's no saving
it. It's just all Doug. Yeah.
It's the most worthless name. Sorry to any listeners we have that are named Doug. Brandon Sanderson apparently does not like your name.
Yup.
Doug. Doug is a very interesting name.
Sorry, Dougs.
I wonder where it comes. I guess it's. No, I didn't look at the origin of Doug. Douglas.
An etymology of Doug.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, I assume Douglas, right, would be the full name.
Yeah. Well, it's like the etymology of dog, D-O-G. Like no one knows its origin because it's hound and Hund in German and like something else in canine, but like dog like came about in English and doesn't relate to any other languages. Like so, like where did dog come from? Like
probably a mistranscript, misread transcript of something. Probably,
yeah, because canine, and hound are Hund from German,
right? Like, and we're primarily a Germanic language, so
primarily. But in French, it's not dog. Like dog is a very much a
it's shin.
It's shin. Yeah. Yeah, so it's dog's just this really weird word that no one knows where it came from.
And even some people goes with canine better.
Yeah, and I think some people theorized that it was actually like someone just named one species of dog, like just randomly, like, and it just stuck and they started calling everything dogs. That's probably
interesting. Yeah, maybe it was random. Like instead of calling it a mutt, like a bunch of mixed breeds, like they just called it a dog.
Yeah.
I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah. It is very fascinating if you want to go into deep origin of words type things. Are you looking it up, Alonda?
Originated in Scotland.
Okay.
It is derived. I'm looking up the surname Douglas, which I assume is how Doug comes around. It's a shortening of Douglas, and it refers to a dark colored river or stream. Okay. And I thought this, and I was going to say, I was like, I bet you it's not Doug. I bet you it's Glass. And you know what? If I had guessed that on Jeopardy, I would be almost there. Because sure enough, it's Dub, which means dark or black, and Glass, which is stream. So it's actually dark stream.
Dark stream. Okay.
So there you go.
There you go. That's where it comes from.
There you go. Hey, man, I would have gotten pretty close. Again, if it was a Jeopardy question, I would have tried to work off of Glass, not Doug. I would have gotten close Dub is actually it's originated from not D-O-U but D-U-B-H.
Right.
Dub. So it's like Douglas, like that.
Where you get Dublin or Glasgow.
Probably all similar, right?
Similar, Scottish and Irish. Yeah.
Probably. They're probably all like intermingled, the same,
Gaelic,
origins and stuff.
Yeah. Interesting.
Good stuff.
Cool.
I love learning stuff like that.
Yeah. Fascinating. Cool.
Yeah.
The more
where's the thing, Alan?
It's coming. I'm already there. The more you know.
Exactly. We gotta learn something every episode.
We have to.
If nothing else, we gotta learn about each other. If we can't learn something of value, we'll learn about each other. Right?
Yeah.
Like Marco Polo.
Yeah, so most of the crew is just referred to as Doug. And Tress starts referring to people as dogs. She asks one of the dogs where the toilet is. And she starts to explore the ship a little bit. And she comes upon Fort, who's the quartermaster, and Anne, who's the carpenter. And they're inspecting a cannonball and whether there's any other defective ones that are found. So they're just kind of talking, and Fort can't talk like with his words. He has to use a board that's like pretty cool. And Hoyt actually explains it too. That's from another world, but like he doesn't know how he got it because he can't talk and he's never bothered asking them. He's like, but I know of these things because I've been to the world where they're from, and I have no idea how Fort got one and how one got here. But it's like you push a different way and words come out. It sounds like a tablet. It's pretty much what he has.
Yeah, it sounds like an Apple Newton, basically, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And it sounds
like on the other planet. I just picked up on that. He got it from a wizard.
That's what it was. Yeah. But I think Hoyt hints that it might have been from another planet. Or it was similar to something. It was similar to something on another planet. Maybe that's what it was. And he's wondered who gave it, who the wizard was, because he said, I wonder if I might know him.
Maybe you're giving stuff away to us.
No, my memory's not that good. So I don't.
And it sounds like it's got algorithms built into it, because now it seems like it kind of. He says it can read his mind, but probably it's just he's used it so much it knows the permutations of what he's used the most, and it knows typically he's going to say something like this, and so it just kind of predicts really well what he's going to put in.
Hoyt says he's from Nautilus. He names the system he's from. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. So Fort then cautions that let's see, it only works for him, and they shouldn't think about stealing it.
That'd be really cruel if somebody stole it from him.
Yeah.
In my mind, it looked almost like an Etch-a-Sketch.
Yeah.
So like the inside of it kind of draws things.
Right.
But didn't really look like a tablet to me. Just some sort of magical Etch-a-Sketch.
Yeah. But it has an algorithm built into it. So it's
yes.
Right.
I'm wondering though, because he had it by when Huck and Tress were talking, and then kind of answered her or told her to like come over here, and I'm wondering if it picked up her talking and Huck talking, because immediately after he said it picks out different voices,
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm wondering if he heard what they were talking about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she protests saying she wouldn't even think about stealing it, and says, he's been so kind, and he's like, I'm not being kind. It's just trade. That's what he responds back. And then Soleil comes in and gives Fort 4 gold earrings to trade for a pocket watch.
Right. And for some reason, I guess that fourth one was the clincher, because she originally offered 3, and he was like, "No, I don't wear earrings." And then she offered the 4th, and he's like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Good deal.
I know. Yeah.
But also Fort's starting to give Tress some scraps. So, he tells Tress to come back for scraps.
Yep, some runny eggs and some nasty
bread,
hash browns.
Mm-hmm. And Hoyt gets scraps.
That's what it was.
And Hoyt gets scraps too.
Yeah.
And then he comments about how much he doesn't like the taste, and he's like, "But I thought you couldn't taste." He goes, "Oh no, not that kind of taste."
Yeah. That's when he clues us in on his.
So the senses that were taken away were taste, decorum, purpose, self, and humor. I think were the 5 senses that were taken away.
Humor, that one I didn't get.
Sense of humor?
I mean, because he's wit as well.
Sense of humor.
So if he doesn't have a sense of humor, and he refers to himself as being wit.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
maybe it's a new thing, and we'll fix it by the end of this book.
Yeah.
Okay. The sense of humor one.
I think this is, but I don't think that this translates over to also in Roshar.
So he's only cursed here, but not everywhere.
Maybe, but maybe the curse gets lifted. I don't know. That's
what are the rules on this thing?
Curse gonna get lifted, but by the time he goes back.
Yeah.
Or like you're saying, maybe the curse only applies while he's in this world.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And then, and this is where he says to remember the important members of the crew, which are Crow, Laggart, Fort, Anne, Soleil, and Olam, which we get to meet Olam in a bit. Who's also not from this world, but because that's the next chapter. You guys ready? Or no, wait, I skipped it way ahead. Didn't I? We already went to chapter 15. Yeah.
I thought they talk about a corpse or the
that's chapter 16.
Sprout.
Yeah.
There's the corpse and then the other corpse.
So we haven't talked about the sprout. What is it called? Sprouter?
The Sprouter.
Yeah. We haven't talked about the Sprouter yet. Is that this chapter or is that next chapter? I thought it was this chapter.
This next chapter.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could easily be getting ahead. I mean, there's a lot of chapters in this.
Yeah.
It was 15 through 21, so that's
13
chapters.
to 21.
They're all short.
13
chapters.
to 20. Yeah, right. So there's like a bunch of chapters. So it's
Yeah.
really easy to have them all run together.
Yeah, and I read this 2 weeks ago right afterwards, and I didn't reread. I should.
Oh,
okay.
So now it's all jumbled.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna talk about it as a whole.
That's okay.
Yeah. So during also the conversation with Fort, that's also where the destruction of the Utstream, they say it was an accident and it's not the kind of piracy they signed up for, and says, that they're not happy about this whole thing being dead runners.
Yeah.
Yeah. So chapter 16 is the corpse. So Tress returns to scrubbing the deck, and she talks to Huck about, things that she remembers, from visiting the Rock. And her work brings her near Cannon. And as one of the Dugs is helping her carry some Zephyr spores, he mentions that Weave used to do was the Sprouter and used to do all the work. Yeah, this is where they Sprouter.
Just where they talk about it. Okay.
But he was let off because he wouldn't, quote unquote, because he wouldn't agree to become a pirate.
Right. Kind of contested a little bit. Kind of made the quote unquote walk the plank, essentially.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And so Zephyr spores are pretty cool because when they initiate, they just become burst of air. So this is what they use for charging pouches. So, they add water to this, and that's what shoots things out of the cannon.
I didn't realize it just burst into air. I thought it was just like a little explosion, like some gunpowder.
It's pneumatic. It's pneumatic.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fancy words.
I know. Yeah. So, and she blows it up in her face too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
She gets a little careless.
Yeah.
She had an itch, okay?
But pretty much the Dug gives her the job to do because they're terrified to mess with spores. They're like, oh, you're the new person here. Do the spores.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're waiting for her to contest this assignment. He's waiting for her to contest it and be like, and she's like, okay.
Yeah.
He's like, you're not going to complain? She's like, no.
Yeah. Anything from all this before we move to chapter 17?
So this is before she inspects the barrel, right?
Yes. That's the next chapter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I forgot something about earlier when
Fort
was giving her food and drink, and he gave her a really cute copper mug to drink out of. She's like, just the right amount of nooks and nicks and interesting life story about the cup.
And of course, she's going to pay attention to the cup.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
I just wanted to add some appreciation for the cup. And I also have my cup for today.
I was going to find my cup and I didn't think about it, and I didn't have time to go look for it because I'm so out of my rhythm. So I just have my Glencairn glass.
I did a glass because I did cups last too. But this is just a glass. But yeah.
So next time I make sure I have my other mug because I have special mugs I was going to use, but today I just didn't have enough time. And our little countdown thing is pretty short. It's only it used to be 5 minutes. We used to do it before. Yeah. And now it's only 2 minutes and some change, so it's not enough time for me to run upstairs and go track it down.
Yeah,
sorry.
So, I know. So I just brought my Glencairn glass because
we're boring tonight.
Sorry,
I'll have a cool one next.
So what was yours, Tree?
Okay, well mine is actually from the Broken Egg Cafe where we have our mod brunch every year at JordanCon.
Good deal.
It may have found its way off of the table and into one of my friend's bags and surprised to me later at the hotel. Shh.
There was a
Secret's
lot
out
of
now.
there was a lot of Bloody
Yeah,
Marys at that brunch. That was very, very a Bloody Mary brunch. The first time we went, we got wasted.
Yes, and the second time also.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you do see this, I will reimburse you for the mug. But anyways, that's my fun little mug.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's a fun time.
Yeah. So Tress is working with the Blue Zephyr spores. It fascinates Tress. And she dismisses Huck, so he won't be in danger. And this is when she sees a large barrel and notices the false bottom. And inside the false bottom, there's hidden cannonball. And then this is where she puts two and two together. And she realizes that Laggert, who's in charge of firing the cannons, hid the defective cannonballs to sink the Oot stream. And that the crew doesn't know that this was not an accident.
Right.
Dun, dun, dun.
Scooby-Doo mystery.
Yeah.
Kittens.
Mm-hmm.
So he starts to theorize almost immediately, like, why.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't really tell us why yet, but we start to get some reasoning, I guess, maybe, but we don't know the initial why or the root of why, I don't think. Yeah.
No,
right.
Other than they tell us later that they're trying to
drive the crew to
trap everyone to working with her.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. And then arrives and Tress, talks about how ask her about how the cannons works because she's being really coy about it because she's like thinks she might be in cahoots with Laggert. Because Anne explains that in addition to being the ship's carpenter, she's actually an assistant cannon master too. So she's Tress is having this whole thing. Who can I trust?
Right.
But Anne tells Crow, Anne tells how Crow said there's war coming, and how
there's what coming?
There's a war.
Oh, a war. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't understand what you said.
Which we've been hinting at that so far.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
There's a war somewhere in the world. We know that.
Yeah, we know that much. And Anne expresses regret about becoming dead runners. Is not really happy about it. And this is where Tress doesn't know what the term is, and Anne explains it to her.
Yeah. Because it sounds like now
they're kind of... are you? The one that doesn't know what dead runners are.
Yeah. Yep. And at this point, Tress believes that Anne's not part of Laggert's plot. However, the captain probably is. So, because she's the one who left one survivor left on the lifeboat, which is put two together is obviously spread the word that it sunk. So they left no survivors. Then no one would know.
Because someone's got to tell the tale of the crime.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And then while Tress is thinking about it, she scratches her nose, and this is when her face explodes.
Yep. Sometimes you just gotta...
And then you think she's going to be the corpse.
Yeah. Because the next chapter is The Other Corpse, chapter 18.
The corpse that was from this one did we talk about it? Oh, yeah. He got sent over the plank, the other spreader.
Mm-hmm. The spreader.
Yeah, the spreader.
Yeah. So the other corpse. So Tress comes to.
Corpse.
Yeah, Tress comes to and finds Anne laughing at her. And the speck that got under her goggles blew them off completely. And she's fine besides the fact that her face is a little sore, but they still take her to Dr. Ulam, who is a gray-skinned fellow with red eyes. And is obviously not from this world and is very much and they're like, "Ooh, you brought me something to eat." And Tress is like, "What?" And it's like, "Yeah." It's like, "Yeah, he eats people." But yeah, it's like, "Oh, she has nice eyes too." It's like, "Yeah, so if you want to barter with her, you can try to sell them." It's like, I kind of very attached to them. It's like, not when you're alive. We'll take them after you're dead. But
zombie.
He's like, "Oh, you could use this blue eye and become a, what do they call it?
Heterochromia.
Chromia,
yeah,
which is that's the condition. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I
And of
have a
course,
cousin
the
who
whole
has
time
that.
they're explaining this, explaining who this dude is. I kept thinking, is he a conjurer? Is he a conjurer?
Is he a
All I kept
conjurer?
thinking the whole time.
Oh boy.
So you want to know a
I don't think
secret?
so. I don't know, Alan. Should we know the secret?
Oh, I don't care.
I don't think it ever gets explained, but yes, he is a conjurer.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
So, because I was like, this is just too closely aligned.
Yeah, I don't think it ever in the book explains that he has a conjurer, but
Okay.
he's a conjurer.
Okay, because it
How do I know? Because of the notes from Brandon Sanderson.
nice. Okay, because I was gonna say this is just too aligned. There's too many things about it, that line up with the conjurer.
Yeah,
This sounds like a conjurer-like individual or entity.
But, like, other conjurers look like normal people, not like zombie people.
some of them look like bones and glass and all sorts of weird
Yeah.
stuff.
That's true, but why would
It
he
depends
choose
on
to
how
look
far
like-
along they are along the evolutionary tree,
But
essentially.
why would he choose to look like a zombie?
Because he
Like,
hadn't evolved
yeah,
that much, and it also
Yeah.
depends on which generation you are too, isn't it?
And flat out says that Owen likes to eat corpses and mimics the forms of their bodies. Like she tells Tress that in this.
Yeah, that was the reason why I said conjure was because of
Yeah.
that line. It said
Yeah.
because he mimics the form of the body
Mm.
that he eats.
That's
I
a
was like,
better body.
yeah, eating athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are what you eat, Mr.
That's
Conjure
right.
Man. Do
That's
better.
right. Do better. That's right. Get him.
Yeah. Apparently, and also we learned also when he first joined the crew, Crow shot him a few times to no effect too. Then it's
Just for
And-
science.
yeah,
Mhm.
and apparently they think he's just a useless corpse, but they kept him around. Which, if you know anything about Contra, you can shoot him as many times as you want. They don't die from that.
Right.
It's not how you can kill a Contra.
The only thing is he's not under a contract. That was the thing that I was thinking about. I was like, if he's a Condra, then what's the contract that he's working under?
Yeah, well,
Because they all seem to be beholden to some type of contract. So
maybe
That's
maybe,
in that world, though. Like,
Yeah,
is it?
right. Well,
Are they going to like disintegrate and die if they're not a
maybe
part of a contract,
he's
or is it
paid-
just in beliefs?
maybe he's paid in.
He can leap about. Look at the bones.
paid in bones, huh? Makes sense.
Paid in bones. Look at the bones.
I'll sign off on that.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know if it's a thing that is just a mistborn or if they like disintegrate if they don't have a contract. Like I don't.
Or
think
maybe
that-
some of the rules, like you were just talking about, when it comes to like Hoyd and like the the senses that he's lost. Maybe when you traverse worlds, some of the rules just change because the environment you're in is different. So maybe he's like no longer under the strictures of these rules and contracts and stuff since he's off world.
And he's required no pay, so he doesn't get paid to do what he does. He just
Right.
he gets paid with bones.
But he likes to dabble in medical work the way I think of Dr. Zoidberg on Futurama. He just he pretends like he knows the
100%.
human body, but he's not really good at it.
Yeah.
He's like learning as he goes along. Where's your dorsal fin? I don't have a dorsal fin. I'll get you one.
It's like a mixture between like that's Dr. Zorberg and then Rick from Rick and Morty. Like it's a good mix between the two. I feel
There you
like
go.
I feel like got
Right.
some Rick in there.
Yeah.
So, like, look at me, Morty. I'm a pickle. Boom!
I'm
Big
Pickle
reveal.
Rick. Yes.
Boom!
Yeah.
Big reveal. I'm a pickle.
Mhm.
So I actually we had a friend over for dinner talking about Pickle Rick, and I guess they were really into Ricky Morty, and they got like a stuffed Pickle Rick as like a gift or whatever, and she was talking about it, and Happy, my wife, was like had no idea what she's just completely lost, and I was like, "You've never seen Rick and Morty?" Like I just was like, she's like, "No, I never see it." So I showed her the clip of the Pickle Rick. Just pulled the clip up and she like watched it, just turned to me and goes, "Why do people watch this?"
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
You gotta be a certain type of demented. And of course, now the new season's on, so I've been watching as they come out on Sunday nights. In fact, that's right, an episode just came out yesterday. Yeah, but you gotta be a certain type of demented.
I love freaking Morty.
I think it's great. I think it's hilarious. I like the fact that it just keeps on going, and it's just like off the wall and all the things. I enjoy it.
I think it too. I have to get back into watching it. It's been so long. I gotta watch the first season.
Luckily they don't have that many episodes per season. Like maybe 10 episodes a season, so it's pretty easy to get caught up.
How many seasons are there?
I think they're up to 10 now.
Oh, I think I've seen 3.
Yeah, I think they're up to season 10, unless I'm mistaken. I'm watching it right now. No, that doesn't sound right. It might be 8 or 9. I don't think they made it to season 10 yet, but I know that they have contracts to go out through season 14.
Oh damn!
Oh wow!
Yeah,
the last time they did the contract,
maybe 4, maybe, but definitely 3. That's crazy.
It's 8 seasons so far. 8 seasons.
Okay, so they're at 8. Okay, yeah, I knew it hadn't hit double digits yet, but I'm pretty sure I saw the thing that said that they had renewed it, the contract. We're going to go out to season 14, at least.
Yeah, the 10 episodes a season.
Yeah, so and of course each one's only 20-some minutes,
right?
Out commercials, so it's actually pretty quick to plow through.
Yeah,
if you just want to get caught up, it doesn't take any time at all.
Yeah,
and they're so outlandish and stupid and crazy. You don't have to remember all the details because it's kind of an anthology. But some of the stuff matches up, and you got to know some of the storyline. But some of it's just crazy, just off the wall nonsense, which I appreciate.
Yep. So then we get to chapter 19, the Cannon Master. So Tress goes back to scrubbing. She's scrubbing around the cannonballs because she comes up with the plan that she is going to just sneak around and try to figure out whether Legart is using the cannonballs and try to get some confirmation about it.
Mm-hmm.
So chapter 19 is the Cannon Master. She's scrubbing, and Tress spies on Legart, who is cleaning the cannon. And which watches the conceal the cannonballs and the false.
Oh yeah, she sits around like a waitress though. That's I called myself the waiter because I like the fact she called herself the waitress. And I thought it was hilarious, and I was like, that's really cute. So she made my name Doug Boy, the waiter.
The waiter.
And then she became the waitress again.
She's the waitress again. That's right.
Yep.
They could play on her name too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Cute.
So, when he goes into Crow's cabin, she asks Huck to go eavesdrop. Huck returns, and
she had to talk him into. He's like, "Well, I guess we could get a Doug," and he's like, he just was not getting it. He was so aloof, and she was like, how about you? Oh yeah, I can do it.
But she's not doing a good job playing her part. She's not doing a good job playing her part when they reenact.
Oh yeah, the reenactment thing was hilarious.
Say your lines, woman.
He's giving her notes, and then he said, and he's waiting for her to say a thing. She's like, "I wasn't there."
Man, I have nightmares about that exact moment. You have to go on stage.
Not knowing your lines.
I don't know my lines. I'm like, just you'll be fine. You've been practicing for months. I'm like, have I? I don't know.
It's great. I love that reenaction scene.
Oh man, he is so committed to it.
Mm-hmm.
The thespian,
yeah. But apparently Crow had received a message from a raven from Kingsport that the man that survived in a lifeboat died. So there was no there's no survivor.
Right.
Wow.
And overhears that they're going to sink another ship. But Crow also is worried that the crew's getting a little agitated.
Here we go killing again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Crown Populist Michael.
Mm-hmm.
And they say something about blood binding the crew.
Yeah, but which I heard that and I was like, that's interesting reference. But then she clears it up by saying that's just a term.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it's an actual thing. Because I was like, oh, they actually bind people to the actual, using their blood to like the ship, but it sounds like it's just more of a
they thing. Kill together, so they're bonded.
Yeah.
Well,
Huck thinks it might refer to some kind of curse, but yeah.
Right, which is, of course, that's the first thing I thought of. I mean, it's blood bindings used in like terms in other stories and stuff, so I thought it was like that,
But then Tress just thinks there's a way to escape the ship. She comes up with an idea.
Mhm.
Yep.
So
Light bulb overhead.
chapter 20, the helmswoman. So while scrubbing by the helm, Tress is entranced by the sea. Tress overhears the captain, allows the captain to overhear her mutter about the crew that was killed. She does it on purpose, trying to be sneaky. And the captain confronts Tress. And Tress is like, tells her that, that she just entertains a royal inspector. She really just wants to get back to her family. But, and she hints around so the captain will realize that Tress, hey, she's a witness. So the idea is that the captain will let her go.
Right.
Yeah, you have one more survivor.
But she reacts just a little too giddily at the idea.
Mm-hmm.
And the captain's kind of got that sixth sense and it's like, you're a little too anxious to make this happen.
Right. Yeah. Yep. And Soleil steers the boat towards port, and Crow even says, it'll be good for the crew to get some drinking in. Maybe we can pick up a cat because there's a rat on board.
Yeah.
And Tress is delighted that they're, going back. But then at the same time, something kicks her, what Tress is delighted in turn, and Crow, who can sense that, she is excited, kicks her in the stomach.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because you can't, no fun on this boat.
No.
Yeah. The helmswoman then attends to Tress, finds nothing broken, and try to cheer Tress up, lets her drive for a bit, which apparently is a huge deal in this world. And Hoyt even points it out, saying, like, I know you're worried, like any kid touches, but in this world, like, no one touches the helm.
Well, but it's also because they're on the spore seas, basically.
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's not like typical like they talk about as examples. It's like, oh, if you're just like navigating through water, sure, being a kid and holding the wheel,
right?
It's just a fun thing to do because how much damage can you really cause? But in this world, on these type of seas,
right,
dangerous, for everybody involved.
Yeah, but Tress feels connected to the ship in the sea as she's doing this. And she's afraid that the captain would be angry if they saw her steering. But Soleil explains to her that that's the privilege of the helmswoman, and that's absolute, and that the captain can't even override that.
Right. Because she's the only one who can navigate and knows where everything is. She's got the compasses and all the things, star map, etc. So if she doesn't lead them, they're lost. They're screwed.
Yeah.
Right.
And Tristan starts to ask about, whether the captain might be in danger. But Soleil says that, we all agreed to piracy, but we don't really want to be dead runners. And Tress is like, yeah, I hear ya. So it starts to wear on Tress because she's like, I like the rest of this crew. I don't want them to all be sentenced to death pretty much. Like,
right.
So,
and mutiny.
And Soleil says she's searching for her father. So each port she goes to, she's looking for her dad.
Well, I got a little confused by that. It made it sound like first it made it sound like she was looking for her father. Then it made it sound like she was trying to get the money together to pay off her father's debt.
Right.
So I didn't know which one is she actually looking for. Is she looking for the money, or is she looking for her dad?
Yeah. I think both.
Maybe her dad is captured by the sorceress lady too.
Oh, so maybe he's missing and he has debt to pay off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of like Charlie.
Yep. And as Tress is driving, all of a sudden the wheel shudders and she's able to turn it just in time to get the rudder straight because the sea stops and comes to a grinding halt. And that's how we end chapter 20. Chapter 21. This is where Tress really starts to. It's called the pirate. So Tress is really torn in two directions because on one hand she's really for saving this crew. On the other hand, she just wants to get out of here. Hoyd lets her know that Fort has more food for her, and Huck comes and joins. Again, Fort won't accept any thanks. Tress is just really starting to have this moral conundrum. that's pretty much.
And she starts to tell Ford about the whole plot.
Yeah, and they hush her. They're like,
and like, I don't want to hear that noise.
Yeah.
Like, I can't.
We'll have no talk of mutiny. Like,
he's like, don't even start down that path. You know.
And he writes to the board that the captain's too dangerous. Like, he could easily kill everyone. So, like, no.
Yeah.
Can of worms has already been opened.
Yep.
Right.
So they pull into port, and everyone's supposed to stay on boat, and no one's allowed to leave.
But they put the gangplank down.
But they put the gangplank down. And Lagarde pretends to guard Tress, but stomps away really noisily to go to the bathroom.
Stomps away noisily.
Yeah.
It's almost like saying, well, here I go walking away from my post.
Nothing to see here. I'll be
nothing
back
to see here.
I'll be back in an hour. I'll just
no one goes by here while my back is turned.
And yeah, so Huck starts to argue that she barely knows the crew, that you need to go. And Tress is like, yeah, but
she's like, but I didn't know you when I saved you either.
Yeah. And he has no response to that.
So,
and even though she's, worries about Charlie, she's also like, I'm not also trying to die, but like, I also can't leave this crew to die either. So,
right.
Yep. So she decides to stay.
She also doesn't know what she would do in that port anyway.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, so if I got dropped off here, then what?
Sneak on another boat somehow.
Yeah.
Without your parents helping you.
Yeah. But she decides if she stays, maybe she can save the crew, and maybe they can end up
helping
Charlie. Charlie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But she also tells Huck, I won't blame it if he left, but he doesn't leave either. Then Captain Crow comes out and sees Tress.
Possibly been sitting there the whole time.
Yeah. And Tress is like, are you going to leave? And Tress is like, nope, I want to stay. And Crow's like, what?
And then she's like, well, my family wasn't really on that last ship.
Yeah.
I actually stowed away. The whole deal.
Yeah.
Seemed like the captain really didn't want to drag her into it either.
Yeah.
Like, I think the captain has a little bit of a soft spot for her.
Yeah, things a little more nuanced to the captain than we think.
Yeah.
I mean, because I don't think the captain's really as committed to this whole killing everybody. I don't think the captain's as cutthroat a pirate as we think she is.
Yeah.
I think
I agree.
I feel like she's like the rest of them playing pirate.
Yeah.
She wants people to follow her and be loyal to her, and she doesn't know how to make that happen. I think she's like lacking charisma. Doesn't know how to bond with people.
Yep.
She seems really standoffish. So.
Yeah, but I don't understand how she got.
How did she get fear?
Yeah. So how did she get? What's his name? Laggard.
Mm-hmm.
How did she get him into the plot? Into the.
It's a good question.
That part I'm still curious about. How did she get him? Because she had to have some type of close enough bond with him that there's a trust between the two of them. So I'm just wondering, how did that go down?
Yeah,
right.
There's definitely something bigger going on. Some motives other than just. I want to go steal things on the rich seas that nobody wants to travel because it's too scary. Like, what are these scary seas?
I'm waiting for one of these people to turn out to be the Dread Pirate Roberts, which is basically like, hey, I'm not really a pirate, but I got to keep on the whole
pirate.
The mystery, the mystique about this name or whatever. But the thing that belies all that is the killing of everybody on the last boat.
Right.
Because that's pretty horrific. I mean, they took him out.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. But Crow definitely insists that there's no place for her here. You can't stay. And Tress is like, I could be a sprouter. I hear you need one of those. And Crow's like, aren't you afraid of the spores? She's like, I got a healthy respect for them. And Crow thinks about it. Is like, you know what? We do need a sprouter. So, you know what? You're hired.
And Ariel's so scared of it.
She's like, I ran on them to your boat.
Right. Yeah. She's like, you ran on the spores and you got blown up in the face by the spores and you're still willing to go back to working with the spores. It says a lot.
Yeah, it does. And so she agrees. And we end this section with her really overwhelmed by all the emotion and whether she's doing the right thing, but accepting the post that she is now a pirate. Dun, dun, dun.
It's a pirate's life for her.
Pirate
Yo
Tress.
ho, yo ho.
Mm-hmm.
Did she make the right choice? We will see
We'll
next week,
see.
maybe.
Next week, maybe. Possibly.
I mean, at least she's in a known situation. Whereas if she had went to port, she would be in an unknown situation, unknown land. She doesn't know anybody there. She'd have been back at like square -1.
Yeah.
Right.
She would have had Huck with her.
Say again?
She would have had Huck with her.
That's true. I mean, yeah, she wouldn't be completely alone, but she'd be starting all over again. Yeah. At least she's on a boat with, somebody who's willing to actually go into treacherous seas, like is actually wanting to go into treacherous seas, which is probably where her love is, right? Right. I mean, we have to assume, because that's the way it was described, is that he was like lost to these treacherous seas, or like the sorcerers, whatever. So, I mean, that's probably better than like if she was just like to go get some merchant ship and then be like, hey, I need to go like near the sorceress, and they're gonna be like, hell no.
Yeah.
Right.
Plus, it seems like everybody, well, not everybody, but there's a lot of people on this ship that are very relatable to Tress right now. It seems like.
Absolutely. Yeah. And she hasn't made enemies.
No, not really.
And they like her work
Crow's
ethic.
the closest, but kind of not. Yeah.
They like her work ethic. They like. I mean, they're really enamored by the fact that she doesn't like complain about the jobs and tasks that she's given. She just puts her head down and just like, I'll do the thing. What you need me to do. So she has a lot of admirable characteristics that are making her, part of the crew.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, they're definitely starting to like her for different things. Yeah, like Hoyt is definitely on his way to the sorceress. That's my guess. He's going there anyway.
Yeah,
he's got to get his senses back.
He has to get his senses back.
Of course, we don't know how that works.
Yeah.
No.
We don't. All right. Anything else we missed, or anything else?
So this sorceress on this world is not like the sorceress or the entity that does the curses that we've been reading about in like the Way of Kings, right?
Yeah, and that's what I was just about to say too. She kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah, because I mean they do something similar because they get curses and stuff. But is this? But they're different worlds, right?
Right, they are different worlds.
But it sounds like there's like some similarities here with the whole. You go and get something, but you got to give something.
Yeah.
So I guess this is like something that's prevalent in this universe as a whole.
Yeah. I mean, and if it's someone from a different world too, I mean, like they might, we don't know whether or not powers work on different worlds either. I don't think have we seen anything like that yet? I don't think so.
I mean, Hoyt, he definitely opened up a portal. We saw that at the end of one of the books.
Elantris,
Elantris, right. He actually opened up a portal and went right through it. So he has powers.
Yeah.
But of course that power already existed on that world though too. So is it governed by the world he's on?
Yeah.
Is that what dictates what his capabilities are? No. I don't remember doing anything.
I missed so much.
Say again?
I did not know. I said I know I read Elantris, but I missed so much. Like I didn't know that he opened a portal.
At the very end.
That was in the epilogue.
Yeah, it's in the epilogue.
Yeah, that he does that.
He goes to the lake and he's talking to Aeon, and then at the very end he opens up a thing.
Well, we think it's an Aeon. It kind of sounds like it's a pseudo Aeon because it's like it's a little different.
Might be a Spren. I don't know.
You would. You would introduce a thing from another world. Okay, sure. Okay. Fair enough, Alan. You win this round.
I mean, you're starting to see it with the Conjura in this world and Hoy.
Right, because I'm seeing all this overlap. And so now stuff I was kind of writing off, I am not writing off anymore. Because there's some stuff that happened in Elantris where I was like, this kind of reminds me of something in Mistborn. And I was like, kind of like, oh, well, it's just a writer just making some similarirs. Yeah, and now I'm starting to say, no, these things are very.
See all the little tiny breadcrumbs. It's there's a lot of stuff happening in the background in the Cosmere that's like, and then once you've read it all, it's and it's still like stuff being revealed because it's not done. So, but it's
Right.
it's very much like, no, once you read to the point where it's that now, it's very interconnected.
Yeah, there's all kinds of clues that I'm starting now that I've seen more of the worlds. It's starting to become more obvious that there's like this crossover. Yeah, which again, you first read it, it sounds like, oh, he's just like getting lazy, just introducing elements, pseudo similar elements as he used before. But nope, they're very purposeful. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Very,
okay, I see you, Brandon.
So fun times. Anything we missed before we go to favorite character?
Trying to think anything else we needed to discuss. I wonder if she heard her talking to Huck. That was the thing I was wondering about.
Yeah.
Because I mean, she knows who else could she be talking to. You know, so I wonder. You know, I think she's a bright woman. I don't think she's a terribly brilliant pirate.
Yeah.
But I think she could be like a really bright woman that is like, because she obviously has like a sixth sense of perception. And so I wouldn't be surprised if she kind of knew more what she's letting on.
She rolls an 18 on perception. It's not quite a natural 20, but it's
yeah. See, I'm not surprised. You say that, I'm like, yeah, I can see that. We were talking about charisma earlier. Yeah. What did you say, Tress? Like what? Hoyd rolled like a 2 on charisma, but
nerd alert. Yeah. Of course, the only time I've ever played
we're doing this podcast is automatically a nerd alert, people.
The only time I ever played tabletop was with you, Tree. So
yeah, that's fair. I'm also a nerd.
Yeah,
it's okay. Hey, look, nerds run the world now.
Yeah.
Heck, nerds run culture now.
Yeah.
Look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe as an example. Marvel Cinematic Universe, Harry Potter universe, Star Wars universe. Nerds run everything now, people.
The new Superman franchise being introduced. The new Superman franchise being introduced.
Yeah, that's July 11th. That movie comes out with crypto. I want to see crypto.
Yeah, from what I hear and what I've read from for the critics, because no one's seen it yet, but critics have. It's a lot closer to the comic books than some of the other Superman adaptations. So,
which is great. Yeah. Well, James Gunn he's that kind of guy. That's the reason why he respects the comic books, which is why he's able to make a good movie. Because he's like, I'm not going to make it exactly like the comic books, but I respect the comic books enough to say, do these things to make it seem like what the campy, funny stuff that you like in the comic books.
Right. Yeah.
Which is why Guardians of the Galaxy should have never worked, but it does because he did it.
Yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy is great.
Oh yeah, all of them are fun.
Yeah. Anyways, favorite character. Let's go. What you guys got?
Doug.
Oh, you picked mine.
I'm going to say it only because you said it last week and you're like, you can use it going forward, but you don't know what it is now. And I'm like, now that I know.
Doug.
I'm going to use Doug one time.
Use the Doug.
I thought you said Huck, not Doug.
Doug.
Oh, no. Huck was going to be my other choice. Huck was going to be my choice only because of the acting, the thespian part.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I was chuckling listening to it when he was like, with the recounting the story. But I'm going to choose Doug.
Yeah, I definitely thought you said Huck there. But yeah, Doug.
I was going to leave Huck. I had a feeling you were going to choose Huck, so I was like, not going to take Huck from you.
I picked Huck last week.
I know, but doesn't mean you can't choose him again.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna.
I'll pick Soleil, the helmswoman.
She's cool.
Yeah,
like her all around. I'm still wondering where she got these earrings from, but hey. And what she used the pocket watch for?
It was between Soleil and Ulam, Dr. Ulam, because
that's my choice.
That's your choice, Dr.
Okay,
Ulam.
you go with Chandra. Okay.
Yeah. Because he's funny.
I'm gonna call him Zoidberg.
Zoidberg.
Yeah, it was the choice between him for me and Captain Crow.
Captain Crow.
Because I'm very intrigued by her.
Oh yeah. Captain Crow's got all kinds. I think there's a lot more going on with Captain Crow.
I love a morally gray villain.
Character. I think she's more of an anti-hero.
Yeah, maybe.
That's what I think that's how it's going to shape out. That's my guess.
We'll see. I'm very intrigued by her motives and her plans and just
her history.
Yeah, and who she is as a person. Like we were just getting little hints, and
Yeah.
it's fun. But yeah, I'm picking Zombie Doctor.
Okay.
There's not
Zombie
enough
Doctor
doctors and books for me to choose.
Yeah. Well, for next week, we're not going to be doing as many. We're doing 6 chapters, which is not the entire part 4 because it's.
It's not the entire part this time. Okay.
Yeah, because it's too long to do the entire part. We're going to split it in 2.
Okay.
So we're going to do it in 2 parts. Part 4 is in 2. So it's going to be chapter 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and 27. So, yep,
Good deal.
6 chapters for next week. Also, if I guess this will come out afterwards, so it doesn't matter. We're not recording. We'll read tomorrow night, but that's. I don't think anybody's going to know that. So,
I'll be busy. It's Canada Day tomorrow.
Ooh, it's Canada Day. Woo,
yeah, there's actually fireworks going on right now.
Nice.
Oh, really? Cool.
There was fireworks the last time we were on too, I think.
Oh,
was it?
Because it was May 2-4. Okay. No, I guess it was.
Because it was
ago.
June.
Yeah, May 2-4, and then
Yeah.
It's just been so long, Alando. One whole
No, it wasn't that long. It was 2 weeks.
We don't normally get fireworks on Mondays unless it's 4th of July or New Year's. Weekends you can hear fireworks sometimes at the university because they have the soccer team. They always light off fireworks at the end of the games.
Yeah. Well,
by the way, I just joined, so I'm like a season member, a season ticket holder now. So I've been going to the games
for Lionbridge FC.
Yeah, I've been missing games because I've been traveling, but I enjoy going there. And sure enough, they're fun. Yeah. And they're really good. They're winning a lot. They are good. Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
It's mostly. I mean, I think there's only like 3 Americans on the team. There's not many Americans on the team. Is it?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a very highly European team. Yeah,
they're all really good.
So Lionsbridge FC. So we have a local soccer. It's semi-pro, I guess you could. I guess it's professional.
It's 2 levels below
MLS.
So it's like MLS, and then there's like USL, and then USL 2. I think is what it is. Don't quote me on that, but it's like there's 2nd level.
So it's like minor leagues if you have American sports, but it's still pretty good soccer.
Absolutely. Yeah. Again, it's a fun time. I mean, on the right day, the stadium's packed. Everyone, and I love the support they get.
Yeah.
I have to wear my Lionsbridge FC jersey one day just so I can represent them on the podcast. Yep.
Yeah, they're good. They have a lot of the games are a whole lot of fun. They make a big fanfare out of it, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, sports, yay!
Sports ball.
Sports ball. Ooh. Yeah.
Sports ball.
Hey, we don't have any really professional. Oh, I guess we got the Tides, Norfolk.
Yeah, which is that's the farm team for Baltimore Orioles.
The Orioles,
which used to be the farm team for the New York Mets. My son and I were just talking about it the other day.
Yeah. So so you get some Major League Baseball players that come through there.
They used to do a thing every year. They would play their Major League counterpart team. So back in the day, the Norfolk Tides would play an exhibition game against the New York Mets. Right. And I was asking my son, I was like, do they still do that and play against the Baltimore Orioles? But he said he didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and then on the peninsula, we have that, and we have, I guess, the Pilots, but that's college.
Yeah. Well, we have the Admirals, too, which is the farm team for I cannot remember which NHL team.
It was Lightning for a while.
Yeah, I don't know who it is now.
Yeah. No, but they moved down a league. So they.
Oh, did they? Oh, wow.
Yeah. So they were Tampa Bay Lightning, and then Tampa moved their farm team closer to Tampa, and then it was Anaheim, and it was Anaheim Ducks for a while. But then Anaheim was like, "Why do we have a West Coast? Why do we have a farm team?"
I do remember that. Yep.
So they took it away too. So now it's moved down a league. So it's not even.
Oh man.
Yeah, they're down a league.
Okay.
Hockey.
Hockey.
That's Canada's. That's Canadian stuff over there, right?
Exactly. I didn't know they moved down a league. Though. That's a shame.
That's not sports ball. It's sports puck. All right, it's a little different.
Sports puck. Mm-hmm.
Sports puck. Sports stick.
Sports stick. Nice.
Yeah. I love how the one Canadian on our podcast is like hockey.
I don't care.
Hockey. Don't care.
Canadian. Listen, I told you we have our holiday tomorrow.
Yeah,
I know that. I know we're getting drunk.
Yeah, there
I
you
know
go.
I'm going to a drag queen brunch for Canada Day tomorrow. I know there's
Nice.
fireworks right now.
I thought you already went to that. Okay. Wait,
No,
no.
that was
You were
for-
no. That was for Pride.
Yeah, but that was not a brunch. That was just something else.
Oh, that wasn't a brunch. Okay.
No.
Got it.
Okay.
But that's what I'm doing tomorrow early,
Okay.
and then we'll see how the day unfolds because
Shoot,
everybody
I
has
just
a day
thought
off.
about it. It's the end
Big
of the
party
month.
downtown usually.
I completely missed doing anything for Pride. I mean,
Yeah.
for the entire month, I should have done something. One thing.
Hill-
Heck, I was in Seattle. I could have did something. I
Yeah.
didn't even think about it.
Yeah,
till
It
well,
was
now.
so
you were
hot.
busy hearing
Our
those
neighbor,
sports
our
and stuff.
neighborhood had a festival for it this weekend.
Did
but,
they see?
yeah, but it
I
was
have no excuse, people. I should have went out and celebrated something somewhere.
it was so hot.
You were celebrating your birthday.
I
That's
was, but still, I do like to get out and support. And like one year, we did. Actually, it was for July 4th. They do a event, July 4th event at the Norfolk. What's the Tide Farm Park? What's the park next to the waterfront in downtown Norfolk? Town Point Park.
Town Park.
Town Point Park. Anyway, and they had a whole like beer serving tent there, and one of them was specifically to support it's like kind of a shelter for people who, basically are ostracized because they come out to their families and they basically become homeless. And so it's like we volunteer for that. And I got to meet so many people there. And I'm like always like, hey, if there's like an event or something I can support, please let me know. And this year I feel like I did nothing, and it's because I was too focused on me. My bad, people. I will do better next year. Promise.
Listen, you only turn 50 once.
That's true.
20
That's
people
true.
are forever.
That's true. That's true. I will support them anytime I can going forward.
Exactly.
Yes.
There will be many opportunities in the future. It doesn't have to be Pride Month.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, how you can found us at thecosmoreads.com. It's a wonderful website where you can find links to merchandise and Patreon and Discord and all that fun stuff. So go check it out. Click on the links, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And we'll see you guys next week. So
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you for watching The Cosmere Reads.
Gosh dang, gosh dang fresh. Gosh dang, gosh dang fresh.